The story opens with a boy awakening inside a room he does not recognize. As his eyes gradually adjust, he notices a woman gazing down at him. At first, he instinctively believes she is his mother, but that assumption quickly falls apart when he realizes that his real mother should be far older than the woman before him. Overcome with confusion, he glances at his hands and is utterly stunned to find that they belong to a baby's body. The strangeness of the situation deepens when he checks his status and discovers that all of his attributes have reverted to level 1, and he no longer even possesses a name. Moments later, a tall man clad in armor enters the room. The woman respectfully addresses him as the king, and he steps forward to examine the infant. Seeing this imposing figure, the boy wonders whether this man is an emperor or ruler of the land. Soon after, the baby is brought before a priest to undergo a formal naming ceremony. During the ritual, he is given the name Noah and officially proclaimed the 13th imperial prince. When Noah immediately checks his status again, he sees that Imperial Prince has been added as a title, confirming that he is indeed the biological son of the emperor ruling this nation. Once the ceremony concludes, the emperor asks the priest about Noah's affinity. The priest responds that Noah's affinity is water, and that his assigned thief will be Almria, a land inhabited by many members of the Water clan. Upon hearing this, the emperor appears visibly relieved. Putting that matter aside, he then instructs the priest to disclose Noah's complete status. As the priest reveals the details, shock ripples through everyone present. Every one of Noah's stats is already at its maximum value, and his water affinity has reached SS rank, despite the fact that he was born only a few hours earlier. Possessing such stats indicates that he has already awakened, something considered impossible at such an early age. Because of this unprecedented phenomenon, everyone concludes that they are witnessing the birth of a truly extraordinary prodigy. At that moment, Noah comes to the realization that he has been reincarnated into a new life as a noble. The empire he now inhabits is called the Mir's Empire, a powerful warrior nation situated within a harsh mountain range. Its capital lies on an open plain, and the empire is currently experiencing a golden era in which wealth continuously generates more wealth, fostering a rich and thriving culture. The emperor rules over more than 10 sons, all of whom are known as imperial princes. These princes are deeply beloved by the populace and are regarded as the most esteemed nobles in the empire. 6 years after Noah's reincarnation, he uncovers an important truth about his abilities. To others, his stats appear extraordinarily high as individual values. In reality, however, those numbers are elevated because they are being amplified by his subordinates. For instance, his S-rank water skill comes entirely from Almria, the thief assigned to him at birth. Many of his other stat bonuses are derived from the maids who serve him. In essence, Noah's strength increases in proportion to the number of subordinates under his command. Additionally, he begins to suspect that his level has no upper limit and may continue to rise without end. After the maids finish dressing him, they send Noah downstairs. Once he leaves, the maids speak among themselves, openly marveling at how exceptional he is. Ordinarily, boys his age would be mischievous and constantly stirring up trouble, but Noah is different. He is calm, collected, and far more mature than someone of his years should be. While Noah is eating lunch, Evelyn, a beautiful maid responsible for hospitality, approaches him and informs him that the crown prince and the fourth prince have come to visit. She adds that they said he could take his time finishing his meal before meeting them. However, Noah knows exactly who the crown prince is and understands that someone of such status should never be kept waiting. He immediately asks the maids to escort him to meet them. Noah goes to greet his older brothers, Albert, the crown prince, and Henry, the fourth prince. After exchanging formal greetings, Albert explains that they have come to present Noah with a gift. At that moment, a visibly frightened servant enters the room carrying a sword case. A dark, ominous aura slowly seeps from it, filling the room with tension. After the case is set down, Albert orders the servant to open it. The instant it opens, Noah feels a shiver run down his spine as he hears the agonized cries of soldiers pleading with Albert to save their lives. The voices are filled with terror and desperation, and Noah immediately understands that what he is hearing is real, not an illusion. Albert then instructs Noah to pick up the sword, even though Noah strongly hesitates. He knows that the weapon is a gift from the crown prince, and refusing it is not an option. Carefully, Noah lifts the sword. It feels heavy at first, but he soon steadies himself and regains his balance. Albert then explains that the sword is called Leviathan, a water-element blade regarded as the most powerful sword in the entire empire. Simply attempting to master it has already claimed the lives of around 120 people. Seeing Noah's nervous reaction, Henry reassures him, explaining that anyone unworthy of wielding the sword would be killed by its curse the moment they try to lift it. The fact that Noah was able to pick it up unharmed proves that he is at least partially qualified. Albert pats Noah on the back and leaves the room, remarking that the test was worthwhile. As Albert departs, Noah is internally furious, realizing that his brother had been testing him with a weapon that could have easily killed him. Still, he keeps those thoughts to himself, knowing that voicing them could cost him his life. As the princes walk away, Henry asks Albert whether leaving such an expensive sword with Noah was truly the right decision. Albert replies that Leviathan belongs in the hands of someone as brilliant as Noah, adding that it is precisely because of Noah's brilliance that he must learn what it feels like to be bitten by his own pet. Later that night, Noah notices that his maid, Zoe, seems unusually uneasy. When he asks her what is wrong, she initially brushes it off, saying she does not want to burden him with her personal troubles. Noah persists, and after some hesitation, Zoe finally confides in him. She explains that her hometown was recently devastated by flooding, and the farm where she was raised was completely destroyed. That farm had been her mother's only source of income. Desperate, Zoe had been considering working in the red light district. As people told her, she could earn a high price due to her past service to an imperial prince. Noah immediately rejects the idea, telling her that he will never allow such a thing to happen. Instead, he offers to employ her mother at the mansion as the gatekeeper and promises to pay her generously. Zoe tries to argue that the proposed salary is far higher than normal, but Noah adds that there is also an unused house near the mansion where Zoe and her mother can live together. Upon hearing this, Zoe breaks down in tears, repeatedly thanking Noah for his compassion and generosity. Deep down, however, Noah knows that his actions are not motivated solely by kindness. Allowing a former servant of the 13th Imperial Prince to work in the red light district would tarnish his name. Zoe is his servant, and as such, she belongs to him for life. After this act of mercy, Noah is confident that her loyalty will never waver. Afterward, Noah summons the butler, Dylan, and informs him about the flooding in Zoe's hometown. Because of the situation, he instructs Dylan to go there and purchase as much land in Doso as possible. Noah predicts that bandits will eventually descend upon the area to exploit the chaos, and he wants to secure the land before that happens and before conditions deteriorate further. Dylan is astonished by the order. Despite Noah's young age, he demonstrates sharp foresight and the ability to manage a crisis he has never personally experienced. In truth, Noah has lived through something similar in his previous life, but he cannot reveal that secret and chooses to remain silent. Dylan agrees that the plan is sound but raises a serious concern. Acquiring that much land would cost several 100,000 ren, the empire's currency. Noah realizes that he overlooked that issue. After giving it some thought, he decides that they will sell the land south of the capital city that he owns. Dylan questions the wisdom of this, pointing out that the land was a personal gift from the king, and that selling it without permission could even be considered a grave offense. Noah tells Dylan not to worry about the king's anger, stating that he will take full responsibility for the consequences. He explains that being a noble means making sacrifices so others can live safer and easier lives. Dylan understands the meaning behind those words and thanks Noah sincerely, especially since he shares the same hometown as Zoe and feels profound gratitude. By the next day, Noah has liquidated the funds and prepares to buy as much land as possible. He plans to inspect the area personally, but before departing, his brother Henry pays him an unexpected visit. Henry notices Noah bringing the Leviathan sword and asks why. Noah explains that he sensed some power from it earlier but has not felt anything since, so he intends to test it while they are in Doso. Henry then warns him that Leviathan possesses its own will and only obeys the one it recognizes as its true master. With this information, Noah realizes that he must earn the sword's acknowledgement. At present, Leviathan is like a rabid beast that requires someone strong enough to subdue it. Henry allows Noah to take the sword but warns him not to use it unless the moment is right, as it could otherwise kill him. After delivering this warning, Henry turns and leaves. Soon after, they arrive in Doso and find that the flood has transformed the region into a barren wasteland. Judging from the destruction, they deduce that many land deeds were likely lost, meaning purchases will have to be made based on official government records. Dylan and Zoe are amazed that Noah, a child far younger than either of them, was able to infer all of this at a glance. Noah calmly replies that it is simply a matter of logic. As Noah and Zoe continue surveying the land, they notice imperial caterers distributing food to the villagers. Noah takes a bowl and immediately realizes that the food is awful and even slightly spoiled. A villager overhears him and explains that they cannot complain, as they are fortunate to receive any food at all. Noah is shocked that the empire would provide such low-quality rations during a disaster. Suddenly, the local government official, Lord Garl, arrives to conduct an inspection. Garl is fully aware of the food's poor quality but does not care, since he is not the one eating it. Unable to tolerate this injustice, Noah confronts Garl and accuses him of embezzling the funds intended for food supplies, claiming that he has stolen the money and fed the villagers garbage instead. Garl does not deny the accusation. He openly admits that those at the top deserve to eat first and laughs along with his men. Their attitude enrages Noah. He warns Garl about the consequences of his actions, but Garl scoffs at being lectured by a child and draws his sword to attack. At that instant, the Leviathan sword flies out of its case on its own and floats beside Noah. The sword begins testing him, flooding his body with its power to determine his worth. Parts of Noah's body darken as if he is being overtaken by the curse. Just when defeat seems inevitable, Noah summons his willpower and endurance, proving that he can withstand Leviathan's might. After a brief struggle, the sword fully submits to him. Furious, Garl moves to strike, but Noah attacks first, using Leviathan to cleanly sever Garl's head. Garl's subordinates, enraged by their leader's death, prepare to attack as well. To intimidate them, Noah slams Leviathan into the ground, creating an enormous crater so deep that its bottom cannot be seen. Even Noah is stunned by the sword's overwhelming power. Shortly afterward, Rowan, the knight captain assigned to Doso, arrives and is shocked by what he sees. Upon recognizing Noah as the 13th imperial prince, he immediately kneels. The others are confused until Rowan announces Noah's identity, prompting everyone present to bow in fear and reverence. Noah explains that Garl and his men were stealing from the villagers, which is why Garl was executed. He orders Rowan to ensure that the remaining corrupt officials are properly punished and commands that food distribution be restored so the villagers can eat well. Overjoyed, the villagers praise Noah for saving them. Meanwhile, Albert receives a report that Noah has successfully tamed the Leviathan sword. He smirks, realizing that Noah may be far more valuable than he initially believed. Later, Noah meets with his father, expecting punishment for selling the gifted land. Instead, the emperor thanks him, explaining that Noah's actions prevented bandits from exploiting the disaster. He is also pleased that Noah has mastered Leviathan. When Noah's stats are checked once more, his water skill has risen to triple rank due to the many subordinates he gained while helping Doso. Deeply impressed, the Emperor asks Noah to continue using his abilities for the good of the Empire, and Noah agrees. That concludes Episode 1. Subscribe so you don't miss the next part, and be sure to watch the following video.